Hey guys, hope you can hear me. It's 1:59, almost 2 o'clock. So I actually figured everything out, got it all set up. And so the first thing I'm going to do is show you just a few things that I had been posting pictures of. And I want to show you some of the projects up close. So let me see if I can do this. There we go. So I think one of the things I had shown you was this fun book, but you could turn it into anything. And it opens up like this, and it opens up like this, and it opens up like this. And I put two little boxes in here so I could put a bunch of my fun stuff in here. So I'm using it more of a book with my supplies in it. And you can see that I have some birch bark and pads and a little bit of everything that I might use. And I just decorated it up in a fun way. And it closes like this. It's a double book. And then it goes like that. And on the back, I even have to do this, and that's kind of fun. And I'm just going to close it up. I'm going to show you how I did this. Hi, Miss Laura. I was just showing this little book that we had done. And it opens up and it opens up and it's got a lot of fun stuff inside. So I have these on my shop page pre-cut, and this is heavy chipboard. And so what you do with this is I'm just going to fold that there and there and there. Now, if you want to do just one book, you could do your little pocket. We are going to get to the tags. You could do just one of these. Very easy with the score lines. And what you might do is just tape that in there and secure it nice and tightly. Then fold this over, and then you can decide what score line you want to use to fold over the top. And there's a little button that you could wrap some thread around. If you wanted to do the double box, all I did is use two of these. And I attached these two pieces right there. I did two of my pockets here. And then it folds in, and it folds in, and then it would fold in like that, and you could turn that into a fun double book. I'm going to move these out of the way and move on so we can get to our tags. Hope it's warm in Tennessee. It's really chilly here in Colorado. So I did another one of these, but what I did was I cut all the extra flaps off. And so it's just the book with the little piece in the inside, but I added the box in here. Hi, Miss Melanie. I was showing everyone raining and cool. Oh, yeah. I was showing everybody how I took that one big book I did to add my supplies into, and it closes up. And all it really is two of these, and you just put them together. And where the three score lines are, you overlap that. You add your two little pockets in, and it completely folds up. And this one will fold in, fold in. If I can do it correctly. Laura, you just tell her it did work. Okay, so that folds in, and then I have my other pocket right here, and then that folds in, and then it closes all the way up. So that's really, really fun. So here was I love doing sewing in snip books or snip rolls with my fabrics. So what I did is take a bunch of these fabrics and did a really, really large stitch on this. So if I want to pull them out, I can. And I just rolled it up onto this little piece of cardboard. So anytime I want to do some hand stitching, add some other fun pieces of fabric, I can just have this ready to go, and I can just add my extra little fabrics or pieces. And this I'm going to cut up and put in there. I had done some of this on watercolor paper, so I can add pieces of any of these stitches to this snippet roll. You know what this really is? It's kind of fun. So, but this is the same book when I cut all the extra pieces off, and all I did is use one of these the elastic with the barbs, and you can get those even on Amazon, and they're great for your signatures. And I just made another little book. And you could make your book into anything you want. You can see I haven't quite finished it, and this is actually a little pocket here, and I have a pocket back here. So this is kind of cute, and then I'm still not quite done with it. But then I just added this, wrap it around, and there you go. So these were just some of the things I had been showing photos of. And this is one I just started on, and it's kind of fun. It's, I had used these for my purse, and they're like slide clasps. I have the other piece of the metal, but all I did is make a little pocket and put it, glued it in here. So this is in here. And I'm going to add a lot more to this. But then when I shut it, you can shut it this way. It's just another way to have a closure for a fun book. I could even use this on a really large book, but I'll probably turn this more into a journal when I get done. And it just shows you some other fun things you can do. Okay, here was another tag we did. It's not the one we're doing today. I'm going to show you how I did these with the florals on them. This one was fun. What I did was I just drew out a pattern of a tiny little cross stitch, and I put it on heavy watercolor paper, and I had these fun little boards, and I just call them piercing boards. And I just went onto my paper, pierced my holes where my pattern was. Hi, Miss Denise. And then I cross-stitched this and cut out the watercolor paper, and I used another piece of my birch bark, added it on the top, added my little cross-stitch sheet. So I'm going to be putting these up. They're really fun because I've used them for so many projects around edges to do frames, and you have your perfect little holes in your lines, and they were really inexpensive. So I'm really excited about those. And it was just another piece that I had done and used the iris sleeves once again on here. Okay, so let's get to the main thing that I'm doing. We're going to do these tags. I'm going to show you how I did them, and then I'm going to give you some other ideas for things that you can do. So to start with this, what I did was, let me grab some pieces. I have this chipboard die, but you could take any heavy chipboard or very, very thin wood, cut out a tag shape. And what we're going to do is we are going to take this fabric and glue it onto the front. If you saw some of the ones I did before, I did all the stitching in them, but this has so much on it, I didn't feel like I needed to do that. Then I have a few pieces of birch bark, and I'm going to add this to the front. I'm going to show you how we did the side piece of this. We're going to do a few watercolor flowers, and that's it. So I am not a watercolor artist. I can tell you that for sure. I had done a bunch of pieces, and I just cut them out, put them on, and that was it. I'm going to show you how I did these really, really easy. And really, that's what I need, because I have tried so hard, and I've taken some classes from Lexi, and she's so good. I just, for some reason, I just struggle with watercolor and colors in general. I just, that is just me. So I'm going to try to make this as simplistic as possible, because that's the only way I know how to do it. So I'm going to do 2 of these flowers up to put on to that little tag. But if you wanted to, you could take a beautiful flower image from anywhere, put it on some paper, and just cut it out. You don't even have to paint your own. You could do whatever you would like. So to do these flowers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 6, I'm going to show you right here, 6 petals. So if you think about it, it's like 1, 2, and then 3. Hi, Miss Melissa. I am not a watercolor artist. No, I'm really, really bad. I really try. I can do the pumpkin, and I'm playing with these flowers, but I just, no matter how hard I try, I just don't seem like I'm very good. So this was so easy for me, and I cut them out, and with all the dimension behind them, I don't have to be perfect. So what I'm going to start with is 3 petals like this, and you can see they almost look like a balloon, but I'm just going to use my pencil because I cannot do the freehand, and I'm going to guess about the sizes. I actually have 2 done up that I just did that I'm going to use on that. So I'm just going to show you how I did one, and you guys can use whatever colors, but if I could do this, anybody can do this one. So I'm going to lightly do 3 little balloons, and I'm hoping you can see that. It almost looks like 3 balloons here. And then when I paint, I'm going to do little squigglies across the top like that. And I don't know if you can, let's see if you can see. Where's my camera? See that? So, and then now in between the 3, I'm going to do 3 more balloons. 1 here, 1 here, and they're kind of behind. And that one's kind of a big one, but since I already have mine done, that's fine. So I'm going to show you the colors I used and how I did this. So for both of the flowers that I did, I am using New Gamboge, and I had already put these colors in here, and I'm just going to just put water in them to get them going again. And then indigo, I love this indigo blue. But when you're using yellow, your colors are going to come out a little bit differently. And then this one, I used some Quin Coral, but if you have like a pretty pink or a red, and then I even added a little bit of Quin Deep Gold to it. And then we have my sap green, which is the lighter green. And then I have my green apatite, but it's like a lighter green and a darker green. That's all you have to do. Now I'm using only 2 brushes for this. This is a number 8, but you can use whatever size you like to use. Whoops. And then I have my thinner one for outlining it. And I think it says number 6, but it seems a lot smaller than that. So what I want for my centers is I really want this light yellow New Gamboge really watered down. And I'm going to take my first 3 petals I drew, and I'll start with 1, and I am just going to go squiggly at the top. And I'm hoping let's see if you can see that. And just add a little bit more in there. And then I'm going to take just a little bit, and I don't want this quite as watery, of my indigo, and all I'm going to do is go around the edges. And this is really all believe it or not, that's all I did. Spreading it out a little if I want a little more coming in. Let's get to my next one. And I'm just doing bumpity lines. I said the drawing is just kind of a guide for me because I'm not that good at it. This really will be fast, hard to believe. But I say that every time, don't I? And just depending on how much darkness or lightness you want. Believe it or not, it really does turn out when I'm done. And this is a little darker. But I can water it down a bit more. And I can add a little more of this yellow in here if it was too dark on the edges. And I'm just doing kind of squiggly lines. I'm not doing anything overly perfect here. So what I'm going to do next is take these off, set these down. I'm just going to dry this off really, really quick. Sorry if that's loud. I don't have the fancy, really quiet one. If I'm actually going to do a lot of videos, I may want to try to get that. Okay. Now right here, I have my 3 more balloons, and I am just going to go over the edge and just go a little squiggly there. And what's nice is when you cut it out, you can even change it a bit more if you don't like the actual shape of what you've got so far. Same thing. And I did those 3 and then these 3 so they're not touching with all this water and it doesn't completely bleed in. Can I try this real quick? And I could have done this before, but I'm just going to do a little circle here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And on that, what did I use? I think I used Mayan Blue. Thought that turned out really pretty. But once again, use whatever colors you love. And if I just would have drawn the circle, I just wouldn't have done any other paint over those edges. But I think this is going to be fine. Now, if I want to add anything more to this, I'll probably do it right now. And I might just add just a little teensy bit more of this indigo blue in a few spots. Okay, let's dry this off. Okay, what I'm going to do next, I have my my pigment liner, and this is an 04. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just doing the squiggly circle around here. And then I am going to go around some of these edges with this marker. and it doesn't need to be perfect. And even if I redraw a line, I'm cutting this out, so it won't really matter. And now I'm just going to draw some little lines coming up through. And then I'm just going to put some little dots. And you could do that with paint. I'm just doing it with this marker. Okay, so really quickly, I'm just going to add my stem. And I'm going to start with the sap green, the light green. And if you need to, just draw your stem and then draw your leaf. And this is just a rough outline. Just so I kind of know where I'm going. And then I'm going to use my darker green and just go along this edge. And where I did this piece, and then also right here. Okay, dry this, ink this up, and we're going to cut them out. And same thing, just a rough outline. Okay, I'm going to cut this little guy out, and you'll see such a difference in him when I'm done. I know it looks kind of messy now, but when it all goes together, it works. You can see it's already better. Not super fancy pantsy, but that's what I did. Hi, Miss Kathy. That's what I did to do these. And in these, you can see, I did the same thing. It looks like I went a little lighter on the blue. And I had drawn my circle in, so it came out more blue because I didn't paint all the way into the center. And this one I used the Quinn Coral on, but it just very simple. And I said, but I said, you could do, hopefully you thought that was like super, super easy. And I'm not being modest. I have tried so hard, hours and hours of practicing. I struggle with the colors. I do. I really do. But whatever colors you want, now that you actually look, you can see some I even overlapped over the top. But you can do these. These are, if I could do these, anybody can do these. I'm just using a light color on the inside, another color outlining it, and then when it bleeds in, you can see what happens. So we're going to move this out of the way and get back to these tags. Okay, so these, I just did these, so, and I know that they line up, so those are the two I'm going to use, but I just wanted to show you how I did that. So I've got my tag here, and what you want to do is cover it with your fabric. And after you cover it with your fabric, you're going to make these little holes on the side. So pretend I'm covering this one, but pretend there's no holes here so that you will see, because I tried to get things done a little more efficiently. And I'm just going to use, I'm going to try to use a decoupage medium because I just did these and I still can't remember which glue I used. But if I can get the decoupage medium, you know what? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to use a heavier glue just in case because I don't remember. Then I won't have to do it twice. And all I'm going to do is put my fabric on here. But you could use paper, you could paint it, you could do whatever you want. To me, this was really easy and a lot of it's going to be covered up. So I just wanted to do something that looked kind of cool for a background, but didn't need tons and tons of work. And I have millions of these little squares and rectangles of fabric. And you're going to want a glue that you can pull your fabric nice and tight, and it's not going to just come right off. That was gooey and messy. So this piece is a little bigger than what I need, but what I'm going to do is put it all the way to the side so that I will use the excess for the tie. And I am just, and when it seems like when it gets a little wet, you can easily stretch it. Just happened, these are the sizes these little squares came in, and they worked so far pretty well on these tabs. And even at the edges, I'm not going to worry too much because I'm going to ink those. So I'm going to let that set on here, and I'm going to trim off this excess right now. Hopefully, nope. Let's see if these scissors are better. One's better than the other. Hi, Brendan. Oh, you guys, thank you. I'm glad you're watching. I always wonder if anyone's even really watching. I figure I said I would do it, so I'm just going to do it. And this isn't even fancy yet. So, and I can trim this a little more when it gets a tad bit drier. So the next thing I did with this is I'm adding a piece of my birch bark. Now I have like let me show you. Oh, this big styrofoam thing I filled with all these pieces. So I have big and small and little, and I just find a piece. A lot of them are very bowed. So what I do is you can either soak them in water for a few minutes or just get like a heavy towel. Hi, Miss Lori. In water, a heavy towel in water, wrap it around this, get your iron and just put it on both sides, and it becomes very bendable and malleable, and it'll lay flat. Like I have this piece right here, and it's very bowed. So if I wanted to use it, if I wanted it flat, if I just did this now and it's dry, it'll just break. But if I use the heat in the water, it'll lay flat, and I can glue it down flat, and it'll last that way, and it just won't bust apart. I had this piece, and I was going to put this here, so let's just line up these little guys. And when I did these before, I just did like 6 different flowers. Some were bigger, some were smaller, and they just worked. So I can just figure out maybe like that. So I think I'll put this right here. And I am going to add, there's some little pieces that want to come off, and I like them. So I'm just going to put just maybe just a, this thing squeezes out big. Just want that there anyway. And then I'm just going to put some glue on the back of this. I don't want it so thick that it oozes out. Put it right here, and even if it goes over the edge, I don't care. And then what I'm going to use is, let me grab these. I'm going to let it set on here with these little clamps just for use this. Any excess, just to clamp it on just for a couple minutes, and that'll work. And we'll just let that set, and that's just going to get nice and dry. So what I did with this side piece is I found some of my longer pieces, and I wanted to find one that was as long as this, that goes up to this point. And so I used my iron, I heated it down nice and flat, decided how wide I wanted it. I have one already cut here, but I started this so I could show you. Just use a straight, you could use scissors, but scissors, you have a chance of still really breaking it. And it's nice when you heat these pieces up, because even when you make your holes, it doesn't want to completely bust through. Several layers, and let's see how far I've gotten. I might be able to use my scissors now. We'll see. Yeah, very easily. Now here's the piece I already did with the holes. Now what I'm going to show you, I'm going to grab this tag because I know it's the same size. I'm going to decide where I want my holes. So what I did is I used my piercer, which is hiding right in front of me. See if I see a bright blue handle somewhere. Oh, this glue. This is just wonderful. That's the one thing I don't like about this glue. It just oozes everywhere. Ugh. Okay, just put the cap on. Let's see if I can find, sorry, I tried to be so organized this time. Okay, where did I hide my, or do I need to grab my other piercer? Probably hiding just underneath all of this stuff. Because here it is, right here. You can do as many holes, as many X's that you would like. I just kind of go a little further to the tag, not quite in the middle. And then I'm just gonna, every maybe half inch, you could go inch, you could do whatever you want. You're just going to make your dots all the way up. Now, if you're really careful, you can get it through, but a lot of times I end up cracking it. So I have this. This just worked the best for me. Just use a heavy board because you're not going through, but where you've marked your dots, just use the real fine drill and drill those little baby holes. So you're going to do that all the way up. And then what I did was I took my tag and right across from where those were, a little ways in, I am going to also make my holes so I know kind of where I want them, like that, all the way up. Now you can pierce these all the way through. I just found since I had my drill here, it was just so much easier just to go real lightly like that. And you do that all the way up. Now, they're going to kind of be standing up quite a bit. So what I did, let's see if it's in here. Sorry, guys, I really did try. I just used some sandpaper. And I want to smooth all those little bumps out on both sides. But, so if you do all of this, and then you put your fabric on top and glue it all, you have all your lines here, you have all your lines here, and this is the one I actually am going to use that I've lined up. And what I'll probably do is after I get it on, I'm going to just carefully cut this at this angle so it goes down at this angle. So let's get all of this out of the way. I'm so glad you caught me too. Hi, Miss Robin. Hi, guys. So I think this is probably going to be good enough on here. Put my flowers on afterward, but I know where my holes are. Let's check from the back just to be sure that I'm lined up the right way. I am there and there. And so now what I will do, and hopefully I didn't go through, I'm just going to go through the back carefully, and hopefully I didn't get too close to the wood. And make all these holes through this fabric. Just enough that I can see where they are. Okay, let's get this. Now I am going to use my, this is waxed cording for leather. But you could use any sort of a linen thread. You could use just a heavy thread, whatever you would like there. So I just have a nice long piece here on this blunt needle, and I know it goes through my holes. Just do a quick quilter's knot, wrap around your needle, bring it down through, and you have a nice little knot there. Pull on the end. Just trim this little bit of excess off. Sorry, I have such a mess in this picture. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the tag, because then if my knot shows at all, it's over this side. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to clamp this a bit just so this doesn't move until I get to the top. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, there's my first hole right. Where is my first hole? Let me see if I'm doing that right. Okay, it goes like that and that. clamp it there so I don't move it too much. Go down. Since I'm doing X's, but you could sew it any way you want. I'm going to go up one and over one. So you're skipping, so you're going at an angle. Then I'm going to go across. And then I go up one, angle one. And then go across again. You know, it's kind of like tying shoelaces. Hopefully you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. And this really doesn't take very long. And then over one, up one, cross. Put that down there. I think I am just going to trim this. I don't want to cut that hole, but I'm just going to trim it so it goes to that angle there. So now I'm going to go down and do the same thing but backwards. Going down and then over in that same way, down, right next to itself, bring it up, and we have, wasn't that easy, these little X's? But you know, just like tying shoelaces. But it's just a fun way to add just one more little, this wood I think just adds just a little to the project, and it gives you a different look. Believe it or not, we're almost done with this. So think about what other natural things and maybe other stuff you may just have. I mean, you may have some trees out in your yard that some of the bark is dead and you just literally come up, and if it just falls off, you know, you might be able to try this with. And it's just another thing that you can add to your projects just to give you a different look. I love using the stuff I have in my yard. Iris leaves are amazing, though. I didn't realize that. I had just learned that. And that's something, even though they get dry when you bring them in and put them in water and steam them down, they get very flexible again. And then when you use them, they stay the way you put them. And it's just wonderful. And I've been sewing through them and doing things with them. Okay, almost done here. So you go across here, go down. Look at that. Isn't that fun? See if I can get fun. Yes, it's like the big leaves that come off. I have like a billion irises out here. It looks like this little knot might have needed to be tighter, but we're okay. And when they dry up at the end of the season, like before you're going to start cleaning them all up, you can cut them all and pull them all and then lay them flat, put them in a bucket, whatever you want. And when you want to use them, you just put them in water and rehydrate them. And then once again, just a towel and iron them. Let me show you. I have a project right here. I've used several. And they were fun to use for different, sorry, I'm out of the picture now. I use them for some other products we have around here too. But like this guy right here, these are just iris leaves and I sewed them down around, made some fun frames. Here's some pieces from broom. I have a big thing of the stuff you need to make brooms. And that's kind of fun for a frame too. And on that one tag I had with the sheep, I used a bunch of the irises. And this one I got really, really soft and soggy and ironed it down so I could fold it through, then fold it and glue it, and it stays. And this is the little ends of the iris leaves. I love these. They look like little flowers on their own. Okay, so we are going to trim this. Let's glue our stuff on here. So what I did was there's a little tab at the top. Let me find where I set that little guy. You can see the little tabs that are on the top, and you can take them. I just glued, here's another piece. I just glued a piece of fabric to that tab and then just made little slices all the way around and glued it. You can see on the back. And so I have my little tab that I'm going to put right where that hole is. So let's make that hole first of all. And let's do a little slicing here. I don't know, this one may work better. Maybe not. And just do little slices around. And then either find the back of a paintbrush or something that fits into that hole. And then I just push it down. And so what I'm going to do is put a little glue back in here and bring these up. And that will secure this. See if I can get the glue out of the end of this. It ain't gonna be that easy. Let's try it. Okay, I'm just gonna do it this way. Guys ever have this happen on yours? Maybe I need a skinnier needle. I'm just putting a little glue there. I'm going to take this little tube, push it up, and then just push these all back. And if you really wanted it really pretty on the back, you could just decoupage some paper on here, paint it, whatever you would like. Nice and round. Then I'm going to glue this little guy right there. And see, that already adds such a difference. And I'm just going to use this glue for this. And then the last thing, we are going to glue our flowers on. And I forgot how I did them, but we'll just make it work. So I want enough that I can have the tag showing there, and maybe this here, and then I may have to trim a bit off. But I'm just going to glue these little guys down. Maybe I'll bring that down a little further. Okay, so that guy's going there. And kind of eyeball where your piece goes to, so you know how far to put the glue. And really, if I just get it on here and a little on here, because really it's going to hold on to this piece right here. And this guy will be about that much to there. You think about right there. Good enough. That's it. That's good. You could leave some of that on, but I think I'm going to cut that off. And then we're going to take our little excess piece, cut a thin piece of it. And you can use anything for this. And all I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue here and a little glue on the other side. And if I ever want to tie it, I can, or I can just glue the two ends. Put that there. Last thing, if you want, you can age your whole piece. I am just going to use, and I've been really liking this one. It's called Rusty Hinge. And it even adds a little age to your fabric. Didn't it look, hopefully it looked easy. Hopefully it didn't look so hard. And see, you could even add a little to your flowers. So, like I said, I'm not a very good watercolorer, but I hope when you saw me do it, you thought, oh my gosh, I can do that. If Karma can do that, I can do that. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of a sealer on it. And then you have this. See, I mean, to me, it just seems like it's just a little bit different. You could even add, if you didn't have such huge flowers, a fun word there. Anything you want. The nice thing about using a sealer at the end is it kind of moves your antiquing around, and it makes this, seems like everything just seems a little more sturdy when I add this to the top. And it dries clear, so, and I'm making a mess. But then I'm also sealing my wood. And I think I blobbed too much on, but I hope you get the gist. You can even make these stiff. Did it seem easy? Hopefully that seemed really, really easy. And that was it. And if you just sat down and did a bunch of flowers, or I said like if you have cute flower transfers, or if you just have a cute flower picture, put them on a heavier board, cut them out, and do the same thing. just another way to do a tag. Just trying to come up with some new ideas for some other things and using some stuff that you already got. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you give it a try, but whatever you do, have fun. I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay warm.